please know that even though we're dropping like flies and we started with 5 and now we're down to 3, it has nothing to do with you. Oh. We just couldn't get it together today for whatever reason. Welcome back to Adventures from the Homefront, and thank you for 100 subscribers. Cheers! I can't reach you guys. Under.
Kate, we love you. We love you. And this is from Jess.
Yes, we got 100 subscribers.
Woohoo!
Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It feels like 100,000, like honestly.
Yes, yeah.
That's how excited we are.
Yeah, we were like,
I know, we couldn't stop texting each other. We're like, we're at 97, we're at 98.
And then my in-laws and my mother figured out how to subscribe, and then we were good.
Yeah. So we were actually gonna break the bubbly out after this episode, but somebody.
it was bound to happen. And for those that just saw my son do that, this is Sprite.
Yes. Breastfeeding and does not feel comfortable having the bubbly in her cup, so she has her Sprite going on over here.
Yes. But we actually already filmed almost all of this episode you're about to see, and somebody maybe might have forgot to turn on the microphone to the camera. So here we go again, and we have booze. So
that just made everything all better.
Yeah, I was like, all right, we have to do this again, but I'm gonna need the champagne. So welcome back to Adventures in the Homefront. My name's Jessica, this is Amanda, our lovely guest Lacey, Olivia, Kate, and baby James. Baby James is having some separation anxiety, so we're just gonna roll with it. So today's topic that we're gonna be talking about is officer versus enlisted spouses. So before we get into the nitty gritty, because we did have a little setback and we already been filming for a half an hour, somebody has to say goodbye to us already.
I have to get home to Levi.
Yep. She's been working all day.
Yes.
Like, can we just give her a hand for, I mean,
You guys are so sweet.
she literally runs herself ragged. This girl works full time, and it's not like a 9-to-5 job. It's a evenings, weekends, 9 to 5, whenever you need me. She's the best mom in the entire world and just planned the cutest birthday party for Levi with like complete with characters who dressed up like Elmo, and just she even had like, you know how they do a kitty bag for people, for the kids to take from the party, like gift bag.
Yeah.
She did one for the adults. She had like beer koozies with like Sesame Street characters and like cool adult sayings. I don't know how she finds the time. Then she, you know, she has her husband. She's got Ryan, who's going out of town for 5 weeks.
Yep.
And she shows up and films videos every week. And she plans baby showers for her cousin and flies to Buffalo on the weekend. So she just does it all, and she always comes here and has the best attitude and just gives so much to the channel. Aww. And we just love you.
Aww.
And
it's
you
so
guys,
easy with you girls.
yeah. But that being said,
You can leave now.
she has to go home, and also she might be taking a break for a few weeks.
Yes.
Just while Ryan's gone, because that is a lot for one woman to hold down the fort without your support system.
Yeah, we have family coming next week, so gotta prep for them, and they're actually here over the time that we're filming. And then after that, my husband goes to Chiefs Academy, so he'll be gone for 5 weeks. So I'm trying to like prep and do everything for that, because I have no idea like what that month is even gonna hold.
Yeah.
Because, you know, a lot of times Ryan handles a lot of the stuff at home because my schedule's so crazy.
Yeah.
So I just have no idea.
Just trying to keep it together.
Yeah.
Not lose her sanity.
Yeah.
And this is Levi's first time with
It
Daddy
is.
going to be gone.
It is. So He had his last deployment when Levi was 3 weeks old, and he hasn't had one since. So we'll see how that goes.
So I'm sorry you guys don't get to see much of her on this episode because of that microphone issue that we had, but I'm really glad that she was able to do our toast and to at least pop on and say hi to you guys.
Yes. And I have to give a thank you and a shout out to all of you, because let me tell you, to get this show up and running, they've made so many sacrifices to their own schedules, you know, just to try to accommodate my hectic one, and I just love you girls so much.
Love you too.
Thank you. Thank you.
But get out of here.
Yeah. Much love. Have fun.
And welcome back. Little transition, little potty break. Now we're actually ready to get into our topic today. So obviously we have lovely Lacey right here. She's gonna talk a little bit about what it's like to be an officer's wife, her experience going through, her husband did the academy, so working with him through that, and other things that maybe to fight this lovely stereotype that, you know, y'all wear your husband's rank, because totally true.
Have a t-shirt on under.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit. What is, like we said, we talked a little bit about your relationship with the military. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Any advice you wanted to give to other military spouses before we get into it?
Yeah, I guess just for some background, I'm married to a military, obviously military, a Navy helicopter pilot. He is a 03.
I love it.
He's a lieutenant. I believe it's 03.
Love it.
I'm a really good wife.
Yeah.
I can't ever think of what my husband's like actual job title is. Like I know what he's like an E5, but I don't know. I mean, I just say he's a Navy nuke, but I don't know. There's like a term, a rate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I try to explain it to people what he does, and it's like never actually what he does, but it's just in my mind what he does. So it's fine.
I think this is what he means when he tells me this.
Right.
He's like, no, that's not. But okay, you can tell people that. It's not classified.
So that's what he does. I am a full-time photographer. I own my own business with 2 brands. One is a military homecoming brand and photographer, and the other one is a birth and Fresh 48 photographer. So I spend a lot of time around military families and my own business.
And what's your website so that all of our viewers can go check you out?
My homecoming website is Home by Fincher Photography, and my birth photography website is Birth by Fincher Photography.
And we'll link that all down below so you guys can go check her out and book some sessions.
Yes, I have some homecomings this week, so there'll be lots of fun
Yay.
pictures by the time this gets up. So
Awesome. Love it.
And a piece of advice for military spouses. Let's go there.
So my biggest piece of advice for other military spouses and new military spouses, I always tell them to act when you meet new people and you go to a new place and you find a friend. Don't try to like wade into the relationship. Just jump in like they are your best friend already. Like tell them if they need your help that you're there to pick up their kids from school or bring them dinner or wine in the middle of the night or whatever it is.
Ice cream.
Yeah, like just jump feet first, like go all in with the relationship, and that'll tell you more often than not, like within like 2 interactions, whether or not they really are that person to be with and to be your best friend, or if they're going to be your best friend, one of your best friends for the rest of your life. So
That's good.
definitely.
And that's so true about just jump in, because you never know you're going to move to a new duty station and you're going to be like, I need emergency contacts for my kids. Do you mind?
I have so many weird strangers on my kids' forums that I never talked to again because I was just like, I need someone today.
I like you. You seem not crazy. You're not gonna murder my kids if they have an emergency. So you're
I'll figure out later if I need to change it.
Yes.
So in what ways do you feel, if any, are you treated differently as an officer's wife versus enlisted?
By the Navy, I wouldn't say that I'm treated differently.
Hey, baby James.
He's just
Baby James.
talking.
We're filming over here. I know.
I think he's trying to take over the show tonight. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure all of the people watching are just staring at him being like, oh, he's so cute. They could probably we could put him up here for half an hour and they would just watch it.
We'd probably get more views.
Yeah, probably.
What's the question?
Okay, yeah, so in what ways, if any, do you feel like you're treated differently as an officer's wife?
I don't feel like I'm treated any differently. Definitely not by the general public. I'm just considered a military wife by the general public, and within the Navy, I would say they don't care either. They don't care about spouses in general. So they don't care about me either. Don't worry. I do think that sometimes we have an advantage of knowing the chain of command a little more intimately just because we're around them more. And we have that access, and my husband has that access a little bit more to just feel comfortable if he needs something to go up the chain of command. But there's no like preferential treatment or anything like that. Like I'm still just a spouse.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm calling up the squadron being like, I need my husband home today.
I have dinner ready at 6.
They would probably be like,
Who is
this person? They'd probably go to your husband and be like,
Your
wife's crazy.
Need to talk to her.
I'm pretty sure he'd be like, I don't know who that is.
That was just a prank caller. Oh my gosh.
Are there any extra like responsibilities that you feel? Anything that like, I don't know, is there a guidebook or anything?
In general, no, there's not extra responsibilities. It's his job, and my job is what I do. I take pictures, pretty pictures. Like my job has nothing to do with his job. I would say like the only like added pressure or responsibility would be more like as like if you were married to somebody that was like really gung-ho about like going up in rank to be like an admiral one day or something, like there is pressure there. Like you have more responsibility. It's more of like a political position almost. And so like even if you weren't doing anything for their job, like you're there to like be a figurehead next to them and stand and look pretty and help them plan the social side of whatever their job is. But I would say that's a rare instance.
Yeah, I would not sign up for that.
No.
I'd be like, honey, are you sure you want to do this? Because, we don't have to. We're good.
Yeah, I would say that's something way further down the line that you've talked about with your spouse and throughout their career, and you know that they want to really go up that ladder, and you have probably been on board with it for a while and have helped them in whatever way possible.
And maybe that's what makes you happy too.
Yeah, like if that's what
being
you
that
want to
person
do,
for other
so.
spouses,
Yes.
and that would not make me
I know.
happy. That would give
I
me
know,
anxiety.
Yeah, I know a lot of officer spouses that they do see their husbands going up that way, and they are the kind of people that like want to mentor younger spouses and want to be there to help whoever needs help. And that's kind of what the wife's role even up there is to just kind of help the other wives. They aren't like a military member, but they've been there and they've been through it, and they have a lot of wisdom in that. And so I would say if anything, that's your responsibility, is to just be a good person, and
Which should be everybody's responsibility.
let's be
Let's be real.
Like you just as a human should be a good human.
Yes.
She mentioned a rule book.
Again, we filmed this episode. This is the second time we've had this similar conversation.
Now.
I made a Cadet Kelly reference. It was great the first time, but
I took a compass class, which enlisted wives can take compasses class as well.
And do it.
Yes,
This is
100%
amazing.
do it.
we're hopefully getting somebody on to talk about it in a couple weeks.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
There's like so many times where I'll meet a new wife and I'll be like, I don't know what to do, and I'm like, I only know because I took a compass class. Here, let me teach you, or let me show you the paperwork that said 1, 2, 3 how to do X, Y, and Z. So
Literally, when we met our guest host that's going to be on in a couple weeks, who helps facilitate these classes, she has a binder like this thick, just full of information for new spouses, like how to get hooked up with TRICARE, how to do this, how
And
to
just
do
trying
that.
to steal it.
Just how to
I
read.
was like, is this for me? She was like, no. She's like, I'm just showing you. I'm like, okay.
They teach you wonderful things like how to read an LES, which like my husband didn't know how to do until I taught him. So like,
How to read anything.
yeah, like it's a great class. But the class I took was geared more towards. It was at the academy, like a week before my husband graduated the academy. So it was geared towards young officer wives, to kind of give us an idea of like both what our general expectations were as like an O1, but also if your husband was like that super committed, like enthusiastic person to become an admiral one day, you had an idea of what kind of things you could go to. Mostly it's like there's 8 million balls you may have to attend and letters you may have to send.
So Rent the Runway is going to be your best friend.
Yeah.
It's like this big tradition thing,
Yeah,
right?
it's
like
definitely
a very
traditional.
traditional.
Nothing is mandatory.
Yeah.
Like you do you, but it is kind of fun sometimes. I think the military in general, it's kind of fun to go to a ball and wear something pretty and go through the pomp and circumstance of like putting on like pretty little metal things on them. So
My husband will never take me to a ball ever again. We got in one of our biggest fights ever on the way to the one and only military ball we've ever been to. Because I built it up in my head, like you said, like it's like, I never went to my prom, so I was like, oh, I get to get dressed up, it's gonna be so perfect, and da-da-da-da. And yeah, then like everything that could go wrong went wrong, and I'm pretty sure he wanted to like hand me the divorce papers right there, or just kick me out of the car into traffic like on the way there, because I was probably being horrible to him.
And this is where the wisdom of other wives come in, because I went in with her story and Amanda's story, and I was like, okay, what can I do to make his job easier? What can I do for him? And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Plus, guys, I don't know, some guys don't like getting dressed up and getting all fancy, and that's definitely my husband. He's like, I don't want to put on my dress uniform if I don't have to, because it's hot, for one. Those things are like wool. And it's like usually the Navy balls in like October, it's still pretty warm outside, so.
So I said that nothing was mandatory. I take that back.
Oh.
So it's not mandatory, like they can't make me do anything because I do not work for the US government. And I'm very proud of that fact. I don't like being told what to do.
That's why you own
Because
your own
if they're going to
business.
tell you what to do, they should give you a paycheck too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But there are some expectations. For example, a lot of times, especially in like the smaller communities, like we're in an aviation community, so the squadron's much smaller, it'll be kind of mandated that they have to go to a ball. Like you have to buy a ticket and go to a ball, which our tickets are usually significantly priced. They're like an $80 to $100 range. And so
And is that once a year you have to do it?
once or twice a year, depends on like the events that year. But like for us, we have a helo ball, so it's helicopter specific. It's only the pilots that are attending.
Okay.
And so, and I think it might do pilots and other officers within the squadron, so they're like maintenance officers and whatnot. So it's a smaller ball, but it is kind of, it's mandatory for them to be there. And if they are going to be there, it's kind of like, why would I go to a ball by myself?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of expected that you would be there, or at the mandatory fun events.
Or you just get really sick that day and
Yeah, well, like
come down with the flu.
at mandatory fun events, I do that a lot. Or I legitimately have a job, so I'm like working. I got a text like yesterday or the day before, and it was like, all the other wives are here, and I was just like,
Okay, but then
Aw.
the event that my husband did this to me. He'll go to like these events when I'm at work, right? The event that I go to, I'm the only wife there for an hour and a half before another one shows up, and I'm just sitting there, and it's me and like a 3-year-old and the rest of the division, and I was like, okay, guess I'm just gonna bowl.
He's like, honey, I don't know what happened.
You
They're
just
usually
gotta-
all here.
He's like, they were invited, and I'm like,
I just like, I go as much as like,
yeah.
I don't go to everything. And I think that's typical of any, I think it's okay if you go to everything, if like you want to go to everything, or if that's like a social outlet for you, because I know a lot of spouses don't have a big social circle with the moving and the craziness and the babies and all of that. But if you don't have the time, like legitimately don't have the time, or just too busy, like it's okay. Like I know plenty of spouses that are like in nursing school, like they legitimately have zero time, and
Yeah.
so like
I would say do it once. You might like it.
yeah.
You might not like it.
I also suggest going to at least one wife-spouse meeting, either FRG if you're enlisted or officer-spouse club if you're an officer's wife, because that really is a community that can be useful to you. Even if you don't like become best friends with those people, they do have an understanding of what you're going through at that point in your life that may be useful, or they have been through it many times before.
Yeah.
So
Good. I've never been to an FRG, but
I count you guys as my FRG, so.
you should definitely go to one at least. Like,
I will.
if you're deploying,
I will.
it's a good resource to have. At least to have a face to put with the FRG president and the ombudsman, to know in case something does happen. You kind of have an idea of who you're calling in that crisis moment.
yeah.
So
Good.
So, ladies, I think I'm going to have to go ahead and head on out.
Aww. We're losing another one. We're dropping like flies over here.
Another one bites the dust.
Oh my gosh.
The little one is just not cooperating tonight.
That's okay.
Yes, but
That's okay. It happens. But you know what that means? Just more champagne for us.
Not unless she was drinking any anyway.
Oh yeah.
but James gets off work early tonight, so I'm gonna go pick him up. But thank you guys for having me on today. It was very nice to meet you, even though we couldn't really talk. And I will see you guys next week.
Yep. Sounds good. Bye guys. Drive safe. Bye James.
Bye. Say bye.
So let's talk a little bit about the differences between like going through the academy versus your ROTC. What were the experiences that you had? Let's start with that.
So the academy is a somewhat of a typical college, somewhat of a complete military experience, but it's very in-depth as a application process. So you start your junior year in high school, typically. Like that's the standard student will start their junior year in college. They'll try to get a nomination from either a congressman or a senator or some other political figure. They'll go through, the same things you would do for college, like sending all your grades in, sending all your extracurriculars, and I've been told that it's kind of on par with like going to an Ivy League school as far as like what you want your application to look like. But if you're like really, really athletic and just kind of smart, like you could probably get in, or if you're really, really smart and just kind of athletic, you could probably get in.
Yeah.
So I really wouldn't get in.
You just gotta be like a leader. They're really looking for like a very specific type. They want the best of the best military officers. That's like their goal. Doesn't always work out, but like that's their goal. And so that's what they're going for. And they are there for 4 years. They get a 4-year degree, typically a STEM degree, but you could get like a history or a liberal arts degree as well. I think most students though get a STEM degree, whether it's science, technology, engineering, or math. I think nearly everyone I know that went to the academy got some kind of engineering degree, which also means it's a 4-year school no matter what. Like you go in your freshman year, you graduate 4 years later. And engineering degrees are 5-year degrees. So they're taking like 20-hour semesters, just like full on. But it's kind of not that big of a deal because they have a bedtime and like they're not allowed to leave campus and like
There's not like the partying aspect.
right.
not
So like you have the time to do it.
they schedule you a time perfectly. It
And
works
you're
in the
supposed
schedule.
to be really dedicated to what you do. So it works out. So that's what the academy is. I mean, there's a lot more to it. It's like I said, it is a college, but there's also the military. They are preparing you to be a military officer and get you acquainted with the military atmosphere. So there's like a ranking system. You do kind of like a boot camp before you, I guess like as you start the summer before your freshman year. You would have plebe summer, which is a boot camp-esque like situation. And then you start your freshman year. Freshman year, you basically have like no privileges. You have to be in uniform all the time. You have a bedtime. You have all these weird rules that would be really hard for me to follow.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of it, it's like, ooh, that would be tough. Like, that's...
See, I could probably deal with that. I don't think I could deal with being required to do PT.
There's a lot of it too. Like, at the academy, you have to do a sport. You don't have to do like a varsity sport, but you do have to be in a sport. Like,
Golf? Maybe I'd be good at golf.
I went to college on a golf scholarship. So,
Did you?
yeah.
Perfect.
Oh, cool.
But I don't know if that counts. I don't know. I don't know the rules.
The one where you don't have to run the most.
Yeah.
That would be the one that I would try to choose.
So we just...
And plebe summer is like boot camp, so like
You're running.
You're running a lot. You're running everywhere.
Bye. Y'all have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Okay.
Love you guys.
So it is there is a military atmosphere. You're calling people by their ranks. Like the classes have ranks. They're not actual like military ranks, but they're like within the academy. You're called a midshipman, which is a Navy rank actually. Like you have a cat card and everything. You don't have summers really. During your summers, you're doing extra training to figure out what kind of officer you want to be. So one summer you spend on a boat, one summer you may spend on a sub, one summer you may spend doing whatever it is that you want to do.
So your life is fully 100% military, 24/7.
You do have like Christmas leave, and occasionally you can get a summer. It's just like a shortened summer. There's like blocks of summer leave. So you usually have one block of summer leave, like a few weeks where you can do whatever you want to do, but it's...
And so how was that for you dating your now husband, but while he was gone all that time, did you get to go visit him at all? Or?
I visit throughout my husband's academy years and whatnot. I visited him about every 3 months. I would say we were pretty privileged in that aspect. Either he came to see me, or because we are from the same hometown, so he was coming home with his parents, really. But he saw me, or I was going up there. I spent a lot of time in DC in high school, so it was kind of actually worked out really well. The Naval Academy is in Annapolis, Maryland, which is like an hour from DC.
Beautiful too.
Oh yeah, it's gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
It's like a little dream town.
But they just don't ever get to go see it.
Well, when they become upperclassmen, they can like spend the weekends out in town.
Oh,
so
so that's nice.
And they also have what they call sponsor parents, because most people that go to the Naval Academy aren't from around there. Like a typical college, like half of the population grew up around the college, but the academy, you most likely didn't grow up around there. And you also are just like in this whole new atmosphere of like no one touching you, and like it's very kind of cold to a lot of people when if you're used to something more. So you can get what's called a sponsor parent, and it's people out in town that are parent age, and they will bring you in on the weekends, and let you have like a little piece of their home. They'll let you like crash on their couch or do your laundry at their house, and they're typically like the best people ever.
That's cool.
So
I would want to do that.
yeah. So they're everybody's sponsor parents that I've ever met. Not everybody takes advantage of it, but my husband did take advantage of his sponsor parents, and we still have a relationship with them. So
That's really cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
They probably look forward to that time where they get to go see them.
Yeah,
after
it
like a really
becomes-
tough week.
there's some normalcy
Yeah.
to the outside world. So, but yeah, I got to visit him, which was nice. It's still kind of like, it took me years of being like a military spouse to get used to the like, what do I do when he's saluting people, and like
What do you do?
what do I do when I go through a gate?
Go about your normal life.
Yeah, you just pretend like whatever.
I have anxiety.
I did for years. I was exactly like that, and I didn't know where I was supposed to stand, or if I was supposed to look them in the eye, or like.
Am I supposed to salute? Is that disrespectful if I do it?
I just got really awkward.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of like tension every time I visited him. I didn't know what to do with my hands, but I think that's a normal new spouse thing to be like weirded out by the culture of the
Well,
military.
yeah, and it's not like people even care. Like the people at the gate are like, okay, you do you, whatever. Like they could care less, like,
Yeah.
what kind of etiquette you have. I mean, as long as you're not, like, being a complete
Yeah.
jerk, you know,
I think
like.
they're more annoyed they have to walk around the back of my car because I don't have a front license plate in PA. They're like, why? What the heck?
Yeah.
But so there was that like tension, but it was also like different and new. They have a football team, so like that was a big part of the culture, and we still try to go to games and follow the team.
What was your husband's sport? Did you already say that?
So he didn't have like a varsity sport, so he jumped around. He did rugby one year as his intramural, which he had never played before, and he got
That's
super
really
bloody with
dangerous.
it. Yeah,
I was gonna say that's a really dangerous sport.
and I don't honestly remember what his other sports were. I know he was on like a shooting team. I don't know if that counted as his like sport. I don't know.
You guys know that this is a thing. It's not archery, but it's like a thing where you go and like
Skeet shooting.
No.
No? Something different?
It's like an axe. Like you
Yeah, that like
throw an
yeah,
axe.
yeah.
super dangerous. Like
Yeah.
But then
it's
they
like a
give you
thing
beer.
now.
Like, it's not just you go and throw an axe. It's like they're getting you drunk and you're throwing the axe, and there's like 10 other people around you throwing axes.
So not that at the military academy.
no.
Like just like shooting, like a shooting
Yeah,
range.
like skeet.
Okay.
like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh,
So he did that. I don't know if that was considered a sport. That was just like an activity. I think maybe you could also just do like general PT. I don't know. I don't remember. This seems
But
like
who
it was
would
a long time ago.
choose PT? I'd rather play a sport.
It would depend on what sport.
And
Depend
then,
on the other people and how.
yeah, I think you also have to take like PE classes. Like there's like a martial arts class and like a boxing class and whatnot.
Cool.
But so there, it's like a college, but like completely with military culture all over it. Most of your teachers, you know, have a military affiliation and whatnot. You're in
And-
companies, so you're like, your dorm is your company, and you go everywhere with your company, and there's like noontime drills and whatnot. So it is very much like a
And the school's paid for, and you make a small salary too
Yes.
while you're there, which is unheard of. That's really cool.
Yeah. So yeah, you don't pay for your education, and you're getting a great education. You do have like 2.5 years to make up your mind if you're gonna leave. I'm not sure if those credits transfer if you do decide to leave. But if you leave before a certain time, you don't have to pay them back. If you decide to leave after a certain amount of time, or you're asked to leave after a certain amount of time, you do have to pay that back. If for some reason you graduate and you don't fulfill your naval commitment of like 5 or 7 years, whatever it is, then you have to pay it back.
Gotcha. It's about 400,000 that they have
I
to pay back.
think like the last time I heard it was something insane like that, because then you have to pay back what they paid you as well, I believe. So
Okay.
I like for like I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
But
there's
2.5
you do have
years-
to pay something back.
But you have the time to.
Yeah, you have the time
are
to
in
decide
there
if that's
and
what you
you're-
want to do.
Yeah, and if you get kicked out later on, that's
what
probably
were you
something that
doing?
you did. So
And then what is the so after they put you through the academy, what's your commitment to the Navy after that?
So it depends on what job you choose, or you put in for whatever jobs and they kind of choose for you.
Okay.
But you do have kind of a say. You do put in your preferences, and it's a big deal the day that they like reveal what you got. And then you have to sign your commitment after that. And I think you can like negotiate. Like if they give you something that you do not want to do, you can be like, because this is a 7-year commitment and I only wanted a 5-year commitment. I'll take any job with a 5-year commitment kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like my husband's a pilot, and so his commitment is wings plus 7. So it was 7 years after he was winged, from the date he was winged, which is I think the longest commitment. Whereas like a SWO, a service warfare officer, will only, I think it's like 5 years.
So when he did the Naval Academy, he got his degree in like aeronautical sciences or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then did he have to go to like schooling to be a pilot after that?
Yes, so he still had to go to flight school.
And how long is that?
Depends on how the Navy's running at the
Okay.
moment. I mean, just like any other A school or C school. Or
But he was
whatever,
in
like-
school for a long time.
Yeah, so he was in school for 4 years at the academy. And then he was at a position for a couple months. I'm gonna say like 8 months. I think we showed up in Florida in August. He graduated in May, and then August or September is when he came to Florida. And then that was in 2012, and he graduated from flight school in 2014, early 2014, like April or
an
May.
extra 2 years.
An extra
Yeah,
2 years.
about 2 years.
And does he love what he does?
Oh yeah, he absolutely.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's gotta be
that
one of the funnest jobs in the
Makes
Navy.
such a difference with them.
Yeah,
Definitely.
because he put in a lot of work to get there. So
He better.
yeah, he better like what he does.
You ain't complaining after that.
No.
And it's a lifelong skill. Like that's a skill he can use.
Oh yeah. Go out
Outside
in
of-
civilian world.
Right.
And
So
if it's at that tier of like Ivy League, everybody's
Yeah.
going to hire him when he gets out. But is there any advice you have for any officer spouses or ways that I don't know? What were we saying? Like,
I think this was. Are you doing
Like, I don't
Lacey's question?
sure, yes.
Okay. I
I
think.
half wrote it down.
Go ahead.
I think my question was more like I don't feel that barrier and I don't feel that exclusion, but as y'all are both enlisted wives, do y'all feel any of that?
So I was saying earlier, like my big interactions that I have with officer spouses is never like with my husband in that way. Like I've met a lot of them through doing their hair. So it's like I get them in their chair and I'm like, I'm just happy to have you in here. Like there's never that like you're my client that's a different than you're an officer spouse, I think, to me. Like
Definitely.
so there's a level of respect, but that's just because I'm doing your hair and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be touching you for the next 3.5 hours.
I don't really see any difference. I mean, first of all, I've probably met tons of officer spouses and never even known it because I'm not one to be like, hey, what's your husband's rank? Like, I just don't ask that
Or
question
just
or
like-
don't care.
Like, why are you asking about my husband right now?
Yeah, like, I don't, yeah, like, it doesn't, I'm just like trying to find out who you are as a person, right? And then two, like, oh my God, what am I saying?
When
Oh, I remember now. So, and then you had said before when we were filming that you feel like you don't feel like you're treated any differently as an officer spouse, but you feel like sometimes, like maybe there's a certain level of intimidation on the part of like maybe a new enlisted spouse or something when they hear, oh, you're an officer spouse, just because they don't know.
yeah, I think it goes along with what I was saying earlier about
Yeah.
that like weird anxiety you get just as
Yeah.
a new spouse of like not knowing the culture and not knowing what's
Yeah.
going on, and people are saying words you don't know and saluting people left and
Right.
right and you don't know what's going on. I think it just goes along with that, and I think that weird interaction's gonna happen no matter
Yeah.
what, especially with brand new wives or wives that haven't really been in the military culture as much. Like, because I know wives that have been married to a military member for like a decade, but have never spent any time around their husband's job or around that culture, and so they're still a decade in and kind
Yeah.
of nervous about it. But yeah, I feel like that happens sometimes, but it gets blown over really fast.
Yeah.
As soon as you realize that people are people and nobody cares.
Yeah, and I was gonna say like that. I feel like people might just. I don't know. I don't feel that way when I meet an officer spouse. Like I don't feel intimidated at all. I think people.
I get
I'm
excited.
such a like an exuberant like person and like high energy and just a wackadoo most of the time that people might feel that way about meeting me. Do you know what I mean? Like they might be like, oh girl, just take a deep breath. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but no,
I
I've never
appreciate
had
because I
any.
feel like I get good advice. Because you guys have been like longer in, like, I don't know, anytime I'm in a military spouse, it's like, yeah, I've been, my husband's been in for like 10 years, and I'm like, give me everything, what do I need to know? Like,
That's true. Yeah.
like
I
they
think
always have
it-
the best advice.
Kind of flies by. Like I kind of forget how long it's been until I have to like sit down and be like, oh, it's been a minute. We've been through a bit, but it just there's too much going on to
Yep.
worry about it.
Yeah.
But no matter how long you've been a military spouse or how long your husband's been in, like you think you have it all figured out and just wait.
never
Just
will.
wait like a few
They'll
more months
change
and then everything will
something.
change.
Yeah.
And
I think that's why it still feels new.
Yeah.
It's because there's constantly you never know what's about to happen.
They're like, yep, nope, we're leaving, bye.
yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Awesome.
I think we made it. This has been
Okay.
We started filming at what, 6:30 ish?
Yeah.
It's past 8 o'clock now. So thank you so much for putting up with all of our crazy antics. I was telling Lacey, I was like, please know that even though we're dropping like flies and we started with 5 and now we're down to 3, it has nothing to do with you.
Oh.
We just couldn't get it together today for whatever reason.
It must be like a full moon or something. Like,
I guess.
is Mercury back in retrograde? What was happening those like 3 months when everybody just blamed that for everything?
I just feel like I'm not one of those fogs. You ever get in that place where it's just like your brain just shuts off after a certain point and just everything after that is like, well, it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
I feel like that's most of my motherhood experience.
Yeah.
So.
True, very true. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed hearing all about your, husband's experience in the Naval Academy. There's a lot of stuff that I never knew or would have thought of, and it's really cool. I think it's a great program, and if anybody out there has kiddos or thinking about joining, that's a great way to go.
Yeah, so it's definitely an experience.
Yeah.
Unlike any other. And the people that I know that go there have such a strong connection with their classmates because they go through all of that together for so long. So it's cool.
And you could be like Lacey and be a 2%er if your boyfriend, your significant other is going off to academy.
You can do it.
You could do it.
Push through.
Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, and be sure to check us out on Olivia. Please, my brain.
Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed listening to us ramble on about how terrible we are with our video equipment. Hit the subscribe button so you can. Oh my gosh. Hit the subscribe button so you get notified, and hit the bell. Oh my goodness.
Lacey, can you do an outro?
No.
Just
Okay.
like, subscribe, comment.
Yes. Please subscribe, hit the bell so you get notifications every time we post a video. We have a bunch of fun topics coming up, so we're excited to share all of our adventures with you coming up. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.